I hope you're able to see my screen. Now listen. So last class we saw refraction at spherical surface. So what does refraction at spherical surface speak about? It gives us the mathematical relation called parameters. It gives a mathematical relation between mu2, mu1, radius of curvature, the image distance, and the object distance, right? So mu2 minus mu1 divided by r is equal to mu2 by v minus mu1 by u. So with this expression, we are going to derive a formula called as Lensmaker's formula. Before we see Lensmaker's formula, I'm going to explain about lens formula. Okay. So we know what does a lens mean, right? So what does a lens mean? From the basics of your 10th standard, what does lens mean?
A surface which refracts.
Yeah, surface which refracts, and it is a part of a sphere, right? So if it has two refracting surface where at least one of the refracting surfaces is spherical in nature, then that particular refracting surface is called as a lens. So write it down. A transparent material with two refracting surface, a transparent material with two refracting surface where at least one of the refracting surfaces is spherical in nature, where at least one of the refracting surfaces is spherical in nature, is called lens. Okay. So based on the definition, we can define different types of lenses. Right. Now tell me, what is the name of the first type of lens?
Convex lens.
We call it as convex. To be more, it is called as biconvex or simply convex also, both mean the same. So bi refers to two, convex. So when I say convex, you are seeing the side which is facing the object or inside the lens. So I'll give you two dots. Should you see the red side or from the green side? Means should you stand here and decide? 1 minute. Will you stand here and decide whether it is convex, or you will stand here and decide? Red color or green color? Which one is telling you it is convex?
Right, sir.
Red one.
The red one. So whether you stand on this side, that is on the left hand side, or the right hand side, then it is going to be convex surface on both the sides. That is why we call it as biconvex or simply convex lens. Similarly, the second one is called as concave. Third one. So what will be the name of this? When you stand on the left hand side, it is what? When you stand on the left hand, no. See, bifocal, it has two foci. That is the meaning. Bi means two, focal refers to focus. It has two focus points. That's called bifocal. There is a so convex lens is a bifocal lens. Concave is a bifocal lens. Okay, I'm asking, how do you name this? So when you stand from the left, sorry,
Plane convex.
it is plane convex. Actually, we call it as plano-convex. I hope you are able to understand the naming structure for it. When you stand from the left-hand side and see it is plane, when you stand from the right-hand side and see it is convex. So that's why we call it as plano-convex. What about this? Plane concave. It's called plano-concave. And the last one that we can define is something like this. So how do you name this? When you stand from the left-hand side how does it appear? Convex. When you stand from when you see from the right hand side, it appears like a concave. So how do you call it? Convex. So concave. Okay. So these are all the different types of lens that we can try to define. Again, just like how we saw the concept of certain terminologies for a reflecting surface like a mirror. So for a spherical mirror, what were the concept? What were the terminologies that we saw? For a mirror, what were the terminologies that we saw?
Focus.
Pole.
Pole.
Simple.
Center of
So
curvature,
first you have
radius of
pole,
curvature.
then you will have focus. Okay, center of curvature. You have focus. You have other distances, right? In a similar way, when you talk about lens, what do you have? So let me take, for time being, I'm taking a biconvex lens. So when I take a biconvex lens, what are all the parts of it? So what will be the center part? The center part is called as the optical center. Okay, the center part is called as the optical center. Now, how many foci will this have? See, focus is singular, foci is plural. You can either call it as foci or foci, both mean the same. Okay, so this is optical center. Then, what is the basic definition of focus? When you have set of rays which are parallel to the principal axis, after reflection, what should happen to them?
Image
Pass
forms
same
in the
point.
principal
Pass.
focus.
They should either converge or diverge, and they will definitely meet at one particular point, and the point at which they meet is what is called as the focus. And definitely that point will lie where? On
On the
Principal
yes,
axis.
on the principal axis. Okay, so on the principal axis. So when you consider a ray which is parallel to the principal axis, in this case, what will happen? Will the rays get reflected, or will the rays get converged or diverged?
converge. And
With the rays will get converged, and the converged rays will meet at a point which is called as focus. So this is what we call it as first focus. Similarly, when you see from the left hand side, what will happen? Similarly, if you take the rays to come from this side, then they will converge here. So this will be another focal point. So it has two focal points. That's why we call it as bifocal. Okay, that's what we mean by bifocal. Are you guys able to understand this?
yes, sir.
Okay. So just give me a minute. Now listen. So these are all the terms related, guys. Okay, these are all the terms that are related to spherical lens. Now I want you people to tell me what are the rules to follow to draw ray diagrams. The rules to be followed to draw ray diagram for lenses. So what are the first? Parallel to principal axis happen. Where is the image formed?
Focus.
Focus. Ray passing through focus. Then where is the image formed? At infinity, because the rays will become parallel to principal axis, right? So third, when the rays pass through optical center, what will happen? Sorry? Travel without?
Any difference?
Any difference?
They travel, yes, they travel without any deviation. So these are all the points that are related. So again, here also we'll take the center of curvature to be at a distance 2f from the optical center. So all these things are applicable. Okay. So keeping all these things in mind, we are going to derive the thin lens formula. So what is lens formula? So 1 by v minus 1 by u is 1 by f, right? So we are supposed to derive this. Do you guys remember how we derived the mirror formula? What did we do? Through the RAM, did we
Using similar triangle. You didn't unmute yourself.
Yeah. Taking a focal point and the center of curvature between which there is an object placed. Okay. Here also we are going to use an extended object AB. So how to draw the ray diagram for it? Where is the image formed? So here also you have focal point. Here also you have center of curvature. Tell me how to trace or locate the image of this.
So can you show
Drawing
the
a
rules
line.
for just a minute?
What should I show?
The rules, sir, like you
The rules,
put
sir?
down.
Yeah. So first one is ray parallel to the principal axis, image will be formed at focus. Ray passing through the focus, image will be formed at infinity. Rays passing through optical center travel without any deviation. So in this case, what will happen? So one ray you can take parallel to the principal axis. So when you take parallel to principal axis, what will happen to it?
Passes
It will
through
pass
focus. Passes through
Through
the
the focus.
to the other side, right? Second,
through
the
the
ray
optical
which is
center.
passing the then
Optical center.
Undeflected.
any yes, that's right. Yeah. Uh, uh, yes. I hope, right? Now, what is distance from the object to the point where the object is placed?
Sir,
This
your voice is
focus,
breaking.
this is the focal length.
So your voice is breaking.
Is it better now? 1 minute. Is it better now?
Yes, sir, it's better
Yes,
now.
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
1 minute. Now listen. So we need to find the relation between the distances and the focal length, right? The object distance, image distance in terms of focal length. We know the relation also. How do we derive this? Can you tell me? So tell me, we need to look for the similar triangles and then proceed. So what are all the similar triangles that are able to observe?
UOC.
Sorry, triangle
UBC.
O OBC. See, you need to look for right angle triangles only. That also I told you. You need to take triangle. Let's say ABO is similar to which triangle? Triangle A dash B dash O.
A dash, B dash, O.
So this is height of the object. This is the height of the image. So when ABO is similar to triangle A dash B dash O, we can say AB divided by A dash B dash is equal to AO divided by A dash O. Accepted? So what is AB by A dash B dash? So let's hold it. What is AO divided by A dash O dash? So what is AO? Oh, sorry, not AO, it is BO. Did you understand why I'm considering only BO, not AO? Because AO represents the hypotenuse, it has nothing to do. So whereas BO represents the base, right? So what is BO?
Minus B.
Very
Minus
good.
U.
Minus OB dash,
V.
B.
it is plus B. That's right. So what is the other triangle we can think of? Similarly, triangle. We can think of a triangle which involves the focal point, right? If that has to get involved, we can see the triangle MOF is similar to triangle A dash B dash F. Accepted? Because is 90 to 90 degrees and vertically opposite A criteria both similar, right? But remember, what is the distance MO mathematically in terms of AB?
H now.
MO divided,
H.
it is the same. Yeah, that's right. So is equal to OF divided by B dash F. So MO is nothing but AB divided by A dash B dash. What is OF?
Model.
F.
Focal.
Yes. See, but actually what happens is focal length is taken only on the right hand side of this refractive. I'll tell you what exactly it means. So OF
Sir, you're not audible, sir.
Is it better now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It is f divided by, what is b dash f?
V minus U
That's
minus
right.
F.
V minus f. So 2. So from 1 and 2, what is that we can conclude? Minus u by v is equal to f divided by v minus f, which implies minus uv plus uf is equal to vf. What do we need to divide with? Divide with uvf on both sides. What do you get? 1 by
F.
minus 1 by f plus 1 by v is equal to 1 by u. Rearrange the equation. 1 by v minus 1 by u will be equal to 1 by f. So I hope it is clear. So this is how we are going to we derive the expression for thin lens. So make a note of it.
Sir, can you show the diagram once, sir?
Done? Done with the diagram?
1 second, sir. Yes, sir, done with the diagram. Thank you, sir.
So this is all about the thin lens formula. The next point that we need to understand is its magnification. So what is magnification? It is defined as the ratio of height of height of. So what is the height of the image? A dash B dash. So magnification is height of the image by height of the object, which implies A dash B dash divided by AB is equal to, see, observe this expression. A dash B dash divided by AB, what do I write? We can write it as minus V by U. Accepted?
Yes.
From 1, A dash B dash is minus V by U. This is from expression number 1. So what is A dash B dash? It is minus HI divided by AB is H naught is equal to minus V by U. So minus and minus will get cancelled. What is HI divided by H naught? This is what is magnification. This is equal to V divided by U. So this is what is the magnification of a thin lens.
Sir, can you repeat again, sir?
Which one? Which point you want me to repeat?
The last minus HI like this.
Yeah, minus C, A dash B dash is minus. Here it is minus. Okay. We use what I wrote. Minus and minus will get cancelled. HI divided by H naught is what is the definition of magnification? So magnification will be equal to V divided by U.
Okay, sir.
So make a note of it.
Can I scroll up?
Done?
On the ray diagram one, sir.
This one.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So this is all about thin lens. Okay. So this thin lens formula. The next formula that you're going to see is called as lens maker's formula. So remember, lens formula is different from the lens maker's formula. Sorry guys, there's a lot of network issue in there. I hope you guys are able to hear me, right? Without any break.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Write it down. This formula relates write it down. This formula relates focal length of a lens to the refractive index of the lens material and to the refractive index of lens and radii of curvature of its two surfaces. So try to understand the difference here. Lens formula mainly speaks about what? It mainly speaks about the distance between object distance, image distance, and the focal length. Right? Whereas lens maker's formula is more concerned about how do you relate the concept of focal length to whom? To the refractive index of the material and also the radius of curvature of both the surfaces. So any lens will have two surfaces, right? So there is an important expression which gives you, which tells you what kind of a design or what kind of a material is to be chosen for a focal lens. That is the lens maker's formula. So the makers of lens will use this particular expression. So the expression for that is given here. See, this is the diagram. Observe. So I hope it is right. So what is considered? There is a biconvex lens that is considered, and the biconvex lens is broken into two parts. At its center, it is broken into two halves, such that one half will be like this. Okay. So this is first refracting. Are you able to understand? For the second part, the right surface. So when we say the final image is formed on the other side of the lens, how many times is the ray that is going from the object undergoing refraction? How many
Can you repeat
times
the
is
question
this
again?
in? See, we know you're able to see the object and image, right? Object inside. Okay, this particular scenario, not every time you will have a real image. In this scenario, the image is formed on the other side of the lens. That is what this I stands for. Object on the left hand side, image on the other side. Right. Now I'm saying there is a ray that is leaving from whom? From the object. That is the incident ray. My question is, how many times is this incident ray supposed to undergo refraction before the final image I is formed?
2 times.
It is 2 times. Be confident, it is 2. It is similar to the glass slab. When you have an incident ray on the glass slab, then what will happen? It will undergo refraction once. Then this refracted ray within the glass slab will behave like the incident ray refracting surface. Then it will undergo refraction again. So incident ray, refracted ray, and emergent. Final image for incident ray, the initial image for the understand. So there is one particular ray which is playing 2 roles. In a similar way, what will happen here is the first refraction with respect to the lens will take place at which part? At the concave surface. If there is any doubt, get it clarified because there is a very, very important derivation. Okay. I hope I am clear till this step. So the phase which will behave in the convex shape is going to refract the. Are you guys able to see this? I'm retracing the same diagram. So we have taken an incident ray to the point N1. So at the point N, we need to draw a normal through the center of curvature. Is it still breaking?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, also,
I
sir.
have a bad. Okay, let me see. I shifted all the locations possible. Wait, let me check. Is it better now?
Yes,
Is
sir.
it better?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
So listen. So what I'm trying to say is, tell me the first ray is undergoing refraction at which surface? It is undergoing refraction with respect to the convex surface, right? So let's say the refractive index of this material is mu. Refractive index of which material is mu? Refractive index of the material with which that particular lens is made is mu. And let's say outside medium has a refractive index of 1. Are you guys able to understand?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So now tell me, is the ray traveling from rarer medium to denser or denser to rarer?
Rarer to
Rarer
denser.
to denser.
Rather today.
It is traveling from rarer to denser, meaning the incident ray, look at the second diagram, okay, I'm drawing on top of it. So incident ray should have actually gone in this path. This is the actual path. And the green color line is the normal. So where will the ray go? The ray will start bending.
Towards the north.
Towards the normal.
So the ray will start bending towards the normal. See, when it is bending towards the normal, there are 2 scenarios that are possible. See, look at the way I'm going to draw. If it is going like this, if this is the normal, okay, the dotted line stands for normal. Actual path is like this. It can bend like this also. You're able to see the bottom diagram. I just drew it above the page number. So what would have happened if the ray has got bent in this way? So what would have happened if the ray started bending in the way I drew it in the second case? Will you get a real image or a virtual image? You will be able to get real image if the rays are getting converged. Virtual image when the rays are getting diverged. In this case, is the ray getting converged or diverged towards the principal axis?
Diverse.
Diver.
So what kind of an image will we get?
Virtual.
Virtual.
Virtual
You would have
image.
got virtual image. So why I explain this is because the diagram that is given in this B is only an approximate diagram. Okay. So nobody knows the fact whether it is going to form a real image or a virtual image, because if you look at the main diagram, there is only object distance and image distance is given. There is no point that is mentioned whether the object is kept at the focus between F and C or at C. We don't know any information. Okay, so this is only a rough diagram. So remember one thing, whichever is unknown in this chapter, that unknown should not be given a sign convention. So when you're solving a problem, if you have an unknown, that unknown should not be given a sign convention. Are you guys able to understand my point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now see, I'm erasing the bottom diagram. I'm going with the textbook diagram. So in this case, they have assumed that the ray is getting converged. So when the ray is getting converged, then you can imagine that there is an image I1 that is formed. So the image I1 is actually formed in which medium?
Denser.
It is actually being formed within the glass medium, which we will not be able to see, because it is not the final image, it is an intermediate image. Am I clear? So just like how I explained in glass slab, the refracted ray is behaving like the incident ray, right? In a similar way, the image that is formed, the intermediate image that is formed due to the first refracting surface will start behaving like what? Will
Object.
start
Object for the second.
object for the second refracting surface. Okay, so that is what is going to happen. So I hope this diagram is clear.
Yes.
Okay, now listen. So for you to understand the rarer and denser, I have taken it as mu and 1, but if according to the textbook it is mu 2 and this is mu 1, they have taken it as n2 and n1. That is only a difference. Now if I apply the concept of refraction at spherical surface for the point B, then what is the equation I need to write? That mu 2 by V minus mu 1 by U is equal to mu 2 minus mu 1 by R. How do I write it? Looking at the ray diagram.
1 by U.
So this is U. Okay. What is this distance? Is that the, it is not V. It is V1. Because V stands for the final image. V is the distance from the optical center to the final image. But what did I say I1 is? I1 is an which we cannot see actually. Only for the theoretical purpose, we are trying to say that this kind of a phenomenon would have happened inside. Okay. So tell me one thing. Are we clear with any of the distances? Is any of the distance precise to us? Here, what are all the distances which are not having any, like, what do I say? Which do not have any clarity about what sign to be used?
V1.
It is not only V1, it is U also. Because we don't know where the object is kept. So, whichever is unknown, we need to do what? We should not apply sign convention to it. So, this is mu2, this is mu1. Correct? Huh? So, tell me, how do I write the refraction at spherical surface for the first lens, for the first refracting surface? Just a minute. Yeah, sorry. Now tell me, what is the formula? How do we apply mu2 divided by V? Because mu2 is the medium where the image is formed. Correct my expression, I wrote something wrong. Mu2 divided by
V1.
V1 minus mu1 divided by
U.
U.
That's right. It's equal to mu2 minus mu1 divided by
R.
R.
R what? R1. This is for this refracting surface. I hope it is clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now what will happen? This I1 will start behaving like an object for the second refracting surface. So I1 is here. 1 minute. Yeah. Okay. So when this I1 is being formed here, when the ray is going, actually see, it is trying to come here, right? Means what I'm trying to say is, observe the diagram the way I'm going to draw it. So what exactly is happening inside is, the first ray is going like this, right, from point O. Okay. So this is the actual path. Correct, Ada? This is the actual path. So this is where the normal is. And we are saying that the ray is getting bent. And what we are trying to say is the ray is getting bent in such a way that it is getting bent as if it is going to form a real image. And the real image is formed where? At this point I1. Are you able to understand this point?
Yes, sir.
Right? So remember, this box is there, no? This
Okay,
box is
repeat
actually not. Which point?
the image forming
Okay.
the diagram.
I'll redraw it up. So, see, this is actually tough for me to explain like this. I'm trying my best. If there is any confusion, please ask. Okay, this is the first time I'm teaching digitally this topic. It is difficult to teach. So, it is going like this, no? This is the normal. And this is what? This is the actual path. Now, what did I say is happening inside after encountering the first refracting surface? What is happening to the refracted ray? The refracted ray is bending more towards the normal. That is how the scenario is considered, right? It is bending more towards the normal. That is how we have considered, right? So this diagram that we have drawn, the blue color part that we have drawn, is actually not the complete part of the lens. Because what is the thickness? The lens is present only for this much extent. We are trying to say that if the ray would have got bent like this, then the final image would have formed here, right? So the meaning of it is the second ray got bent like this, right? The second ray got bent in such a way, if the second refracting surface was not there, then where would have been the final image formed due to one refracting surface? It would have been at I1, and this I1 is what is this point.
Okay, sir.
Got it? So that is why if you see, the ray is actually coming within the lens. The ray is coming from within the lens. This is happening. But what will happen? If this was not there, if the second refracting surface was not there, the ray would have traveled in a straight line path and it would have formed an image at I1. But what is going to happen? Again, if you try to draw a normal, concentrate on this, guys. This is slightly tricky. When you draw the normal, the ray is traveling from which medium to which medium? Rarer to denser or denser to rarer?
Denser.
Denser to rarer.
Denser. What should happen to it?
Away from the
Wait,
normal.
away from the
It
normal.
will bend away from the normal. Means this is the actual part, this is the normal. It will start bending away from the normal, and this is where the final image is formed. And this final image is what is this I. Okay. I hope I didn't confuse you guys, right? I hope it is clear.
Yes.
Yes? Fine. Okay. So this is how you go with the ray diagram. Remember, you can ask me, is this the only ray diagram for this derivation? No, you can draw 8 ray diagrams in this manner. Okay, this is one such ray diagram.
Sir?
If this, yeah, tell me.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yeah, tell me.
If at the first refracting surface we take it as mu2 and the second refracting surface we take it as mu3, so there'll be 3 refracting
mu3, no, it is
surfaces,
mu1.
right?
No, it is
Oh,
only
so what
one.
if
No,
we take it
because
as
on
another
both sides,
refracting surface?
that should be
If
a
we
special
take
case.
another
No, that is
material
not.
there.
Then the final image where it is formed will change. I can show that also to you. See, once I complete the derivation, I can show that part also to you. Okay, I'll do that. I'll clear your doubt.
Yes.
So if this is mu2, this is mu2, okay? And the outside medium is obviously mu1. I hope you guys understood. Right? The final image is formed in the air medium only still. According to us, it is air medium. It is some rarer medium of refractive index mu1. Okay, this distance is R2. And this distance is how much? V. And the I1 distance is how much? It is V1. Now tell me, how do we write the equation for this? Where is the final image formed? The final image is formed. So how do I write the equation? Mu1 divided by V. Did you understand why I took only mu1, not mu2 by V? It is mu1 by V because the final image is formed in the outside medium. Mu1 by V minus, what is the medium in which actually the virtual object is there? It is mu2. That is a glass medium. Mu2 divided by V1 is equal to mu1 minus mu2 divided by R2. Did you understand why I wrote mu1 minus mu2? It is, see, here mu2 minus mu1 means mu2 is the medium where the image is formed. Mu1 is the medium where the object is kept. So here mu1 is the medium where the image is formed and mu2 is the medium where the object is kept. So are you guys clear with these two steps?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I'll conclude it. At first refracting surface, mu2 by V1 minus mu1 by U is equal to mu2 minus mu1 divided by R1. At second refracting surface, what will happen? At second refracting surface, mu1 by V minus mu2 by V1 is equal to mu1 minus mu2 divided by R2. Accepted? So let this be equation number 1. Let this be equation number 2. If you add both, what will happen? So mu2 by V1 will get cancelled. What is it you're left out with? Mu1 by V minus mu1 by U is equal to mu2 minus mu1 divided by, mu2 minus mu1 into 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2. I wrote it as minus 1 by R2 because if you take the minus sign outside, it becomes mu2 minus mu1 only. So what is common on the left hand side? Mu1 into 1 by V minus 1 by U is equal to mu2 minus mu1 into 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2. Are you guys able to understand this? So what is 1 by V minus 1 by U? For a lens.
1 by F. 1 by F.
So 1 by F is equal to, if the mu1 goes to the other side, it will be mu2 by mu1 minus 1 into 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2. So 1 by F is equal to mu2 by mu1 minus 1 into 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2, where mu2 is what? Refractive index of whom? Where mu2 is the refractive index of the
Denser medium.
lens medium. No, it's not denser. Of the lens medium, not denser. Don't remember it like that. Mu2 is the refractive index of the lens medium. Mu1 is the refractive index of the outside medium. 1 by R1. R1 is on the right hand side with respect to convex. And R2 will be on the left hand side. So remember it like this.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, how is it 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2?
Because the first expression, what is in the numerator? Mu2 minus mu1.
mu1.
Second expression?
Yeah,
mu1.
it's mu2 minus. Okay. mu1 minus.
So you
mu2,
take the
sir.
minus. You take the minus sign outside, you get the answer.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
So this is nothing but minus of mu2 minus mu1.
So can you show the second refracting surface diagram, sir?
Yeah. I just went with the textbook only. I didn't draw any separate diagram. You want to label all those points or what?
I got it, sir. Thank you.
Got it? Okay, good. And this derivation is very, very important, guys. See, most of the times being asked and people get confused. See, generally your 5-mark question, no, they will ask it like this. They will not directly ask for 5 mark. They will ask for 3 plus 2 or 3 plus 1 plus 1. Means the 3 mark will be a derivation part, 2 mark might be a problem based on it or some other topic from that chapter. Okay, so I've seen many times this derivation being asked for that 3 marks in the as a subpart in the 5-mark question. Okay, so please make sure you practice it and you're thorough with this. Is there any other doubt? Shall I move on?
So 1 minute, sir.
Yeah, make a note.
Sir,
Yeah, tell me.
so with respect to my doubt where I asked for like 3 refracting surfaces, I just wanted to know whether there'll be 3 times refraction taking place.
No. There's only 2 only. This 2.
But the first
See,
half of the lens is
refraction has nothing to do with the number of medium. It has only to do with the number of boundaries. You have to understand. See, for example, this is the best example you can understand. Suppose you take a glass slab. Listen to this, so you can relate it to the lens. Suppose I'm taking this glass slab. I'm keeping half portion of the glass slab in air medium. Okay, and the glass slab itself has some refractive index, and I'm saying the remaining half is in water medium. So how many refractive indices are possible? According to your question, it is 3. Air, glass, and right. But if you ask me a question, how many times it will undergo refraction? It's still 1 only. I mean, 2 only. Unless, so it is still going to be 2 only because here it has already undergone refraction. So what are the 2 medium? One is air, glass medium, that is this boundary. And the next is glass, water boundary. So how many boundaries are there?
2 boundaries, but there's also water air.
But water to water only it is going. No, water to water it will go undeviated.
No, water
See,
to
this
air.
is there. You mean to say this is air?
Yeah.
I mean, are you trying to say that half of the glass slab is filled with water? Again, outside is air medium.
Yes.
Then it will go. Then it will be 3, because this is also going to act as a refracting surface. What I thought you asked is, I thought this whole medium is mu3. I thought that is what you asked. If that is the case, it will be still be 2 only. See, it's very simple.
But
You
then how will
yourself
the
can think
lens
of.
maker's formula be like for 3 refractive indices? Because here it's only given for 2 refractive indices.
You cannot derive. It will be only a special case. This is derived only for 2 lens. It is not. See, it is derived only for 2 medium. Think practically. No, it's not like we are going to wear specs. One eye is going to be inside water. One eye will be in air. No. See, logically, as I told you, this has a practical application. When you're going to do that, it is not like you're going to have half of your lens inside one medium and half of the lens in another medium. Think about it. No, let's say you're going into the water with your specs. Okay, when you go into the water, on the left of your specs, that is close to your eyes, as well as on the other side of the specs, there is completely water only. No? It's not like half will be air and half will be water, unless it is some typical situation where a person wants to do an experiment. If at all you want to do that also, you can still derive it. You can still derive it in such a way that you take one more intermediate image and then you proceed. So if you have to think about the intermediate image, what is that you need to look for? The number of interfaces. What do you mean by interface?
The boundaries that surface.
Am I audible? I'm really sorry. I have a lot of network issues today. So who asked question? Kritika, was it you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So did I answer it completely? Because I was speaking, I didn't get any response from you. Just wanted to know.
Yes, sir. Got it, sir. Yes.
Okay. So the next is special cases. So special cases based on.
Sir, you're not sharing your screen, sir.
Okay. Sorry. Special cases based on Lensmaker's formula. Okay. If the lens, so I'm taking the first scenario. If the lens is immersed into a medium of greater refractive index. Okay. Previously, what happened? Mu2 is the refractive index of whom? Of glass or lens. Mu1 is the refractive index of whom? Of outside medium.
Outside.
Right. So now I'm saying in the previous case when we derived, we took mu2 is greater than mu1. That is why we got the ray diagram in whatever pattern that was drawn. If suppose we are assuming that mu2 is less than mu1, then what will happen is the question. Okay. So for understanding purpose, what I will do is I will take a biconvex lens. So when I take a biconvex lens, observe. Okay, if I take this as the optical center, this is U, V, R, and this side also R. I'm taking a biconvex lens of equal radii. I hope it is clear. This is mu2 and this is mu1. This is also mu1. So what does Lensmaker formula state? Mu2 minus mu1 divided by, 1 by f is equal to mu2 minus mu1 divided by mu1 into 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2. Correct? So 1 by f is equal to mu2 by mu1 minus 1 into, observe what I'm going to do, 1 by r1. If I take this right side to be positive, 1 by r, minus is in the formula, what will happen to r2? The radius of the second refracting surface, radius of curvature of second refracting surface will be minus 1 by r. So that will be mu2 by mu1 minus 1 into, what will you get? You will get it as 2 divided by r. This is 1 by f. Accepted. So am I clear till this point? Now, if I say mu2 is less than mu1, which implies mu2 divided by mu1 is less than 1. Accepted. Then mu2 by mu1 minus 1 is less than 0. Accepted. So mu2 by mu1 minus 1 is less than 0 means what will happen? 1 by f will be equal to minus 2 by r. What is the meaning of this? Or negative of 2 by r. Is there any doubt in the steps? Is there any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay.
Okay. So negative of 2 by r means what does it mean? Tell me one thing. If I talk about a convex lens, does it have positive focal length or negative focal length?
Positive.
It has positive focal length because the first refracting surface will have the focal point on the right of it. Any distance on the right is positive. So what will happen to a concave lens? It will have negative focal length. Accepted? Right. So if you observe, what is the object, what is the type of lens I have taken here? I have taken a convex lens. Right. But if you look at my final expression, is the final expression coming out as a positive value or a negative value? Focal length is less than 0 because negative value multiplied with 2 by r. It is less than 0. So what can you conclude from this? that lens will start behaving exactly in opposite point. Meaning of this, if you take a convex lens and you dip it into a medium of greater refractive index, it will start behaving like a concave lens. Similarly, you take a concave lens and dip it into a medium of greater refractive index, it will start behaving like a convex lens. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Is my point clear?
Yes,
This is
sir.
also very, very important. This is also a very, very important point. You can expect this in an MCQ. If they ask you a question, let's say they give you a lens of focal length 1.5 centimeter. Okay. The refractive index of glass is 1.5. Let's say the refractive index of medium is 1.75. So they have given focal length as plus 1.5. So what type of lens is this?
Convex.
It is a convex lens. The refractive index of glass is less than the refractive index of medium. So how will this actually behave?
Concave.
Concave.
Concave. So if at all you get these kind of questions in MCQ, since they're asking application based, you can directly start applying this. So whatever I've showed you here is the proof. Right? Please make a note of it.
How is it positive, sir? You just have written down here that f is less than 0.
F is less than 0 means what will happen? F is less than 0, here mathematically I'm getting the final expression. What is that I've used? I've used a convex lens, right? So for the convex lens, I'm trying to use lens maker's formula and derive the focal length.
Yes, sir.
If I used a convex lens, my final focal length should have come out as what value? Should have actually come out as positive value. But when I use the lens maker's formula and all these mathematical conditions, then it is coming out as a negative value. So focal length is negative means what? Though you are using a convex lens, it is behaving like a concave lens. That is what I meant.
Okay.
So could you repeat what mu2 and mu1 is?
I didn't get you. What should I repeat?
What mu2 and mu1 is?
Yeah, mu2 I've written here. mu2 is the refractive index of glass, mu1 is the refractive index of the outside medium.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay, I hope this point is clear. Second, if the lens is cut into two equal parts vertically, okay, first let's take horizontally, then we'll go to vertically. If a lens is cut into two equal parts horizontally, okay, if it is cut horizontally, can you tell me what will happen to the focal length? Means I'll get one half part like this and the other half part like this. What will be the focal length of each? If I take the focal length of the full lens to be f, if the focal length of this complete lens is f, then what will be the focal length of each half part when it is cut horizontally?
By 2.
It is still the same. Focal length remains unchanged. And what is the reason for it? Just because According to Lensmaker's formula, what are all the factors on which it depends on? Mu2 by mu1 minus 1 into 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2. When can you think of this focal length changing? When any one of the parameters, including the refractive index or the radius of curvature, is changing, right? So are you changing the medium? If this is mu2, it is still mu2, mu1, mu1. Are you changing the medium? No. So this part is not changed. Are you changing the radius of curvature? Yes or no? Are you changing the radius of curvature? My answer is no, because the radius of this portion is still the same and the radius of the right side portion is still the same, because they have the same amount of curvature. Their shape is not changed. They're still concave parts. They're still the convex parts. I hope it is clear. Last point. If lens is cut into two equal parts vertically, what will happen? The lens is cut into two equal parts vertically, then what would have happened? So one side will be what? So both the parts will be what? They'll be plano-convex in nature. So if I take this as first surface, this as the second surface. For this one, if I apply Lensmaker's formula, 1 by f will be equal to mu2 by mu1 minus 1 into 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2. Correct? So if I take r1 is equal to r2 is equal to r in terms of magnitude, then what will happen is 1 by f will be equal to mu2 divided by mu1 minus 1 into 1 by, for this first surface, what will be the value of r1? It is r. Minus 1 by r2 is how much? Second refracting surface is what? It is planar in nature. For a plane, for a straight line, what is the radius of curvature? A straight line is a circle with infinite radius.
0.
Right? This is a circle. So if I keep increasing the radius, there will be one particular point where this will be a part of the circle of infinite radius. So straight line is circle with infinite radius. So 1 by infinity. So what will happen? Mu2 by mu1 minus 1 into 1 divided by r. Accepted? Let me have this as equation number 1 and let me call this new focal length as f dash. What would have been the initial focal length? This is the initial case, this is the final case. So focal length of the initial part is 1 by f is equal to mu2 by mu1 minus 1 into 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2. So tell me, for this surface, there's r, there's also r. So it is mu2 by mu1 minus 1 into 1 divided by, in the place of r1, what should I write? R minus, in the place of r2 from this diagram, what should I write?
R.
Minus 1.
It is minus 1 by r, because it is on the left hand side, no? Minus 1 by r. So this will be how much? Mu2 by mu1 minus 1 into 2 divided by r. Let this be equation number 2. So if I divide the second equation with the first equation, tell me what will happen to the final values. If I divide 2 with 1, implies mu2 by mu1 minus 1 into 2 divided by r divided by mu2 by mu1 minus 1 into 1 by r is equal to 1 by f divided by 1 by f dash. So this and this will get cancelled, r and r will get cancelled, which implies f dash will be equal to how much?
2f.
F dash by f will be equal to, so the focal length will get doubled. You're able to understand this point. So these kind of questions you can expect. Actually, these are all problems which I gave you as special cases. Okay, is it clear? So make a note of it. With this, we will stop. In the next class, I'll complete Prism. 2 more classes, this chapter will be over.
So can you scroll up?
Sure. You done?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So with this, we'll stop. Next class, we will discuss Prism. So just wait for a minute. Don't leave.